All right. So, yeah, DP photography, man. I'm just getting ready to do a little cruise. Spinning the block right now, man. It's been a while since I made a video. Um, and today, what I plan on doing is going further than I've ever gone before. How far that is, I do not know. I just know that it'll be further than I've ever gone before. I've done spins around the island, but today I'm actually gonna go up the Keys a little bit. I do got my 360 camera, but I'm not gonna be holding it the whole time. Just need to get my head clear, got some things going on with life. Life keeps on happening. One of my last videos, I said something about just making sure you take lots of pictures, and life is fast. You never know what's gonna happen. And I recently went through some life-changing events, to say the least. That being said, I'm gonna go ahead and gear up, jump on the EUC, and I'll come back to y'all in a few. I tried to do a little recording while I was riding, man, but the audio didn't come out as good as I thought or hoped that it might. So I ended up having to come back and do a little voiceover, but that's okay, because we can do this, man. You guys know it's been a while since I've dropped a video, man. So much has happened in between now and then. First things first, man, Stokebird. Stokebird came around, man, and oh man, I wanted to go so bad, man. I had somebody get on one of my posts and ask me if I'd be attending, and more than anything, I wanted to tell them, that I wouldn't miss it. I wouldn't miss it for anything in the world. But unfortunately, I had too much going on, man. A lot of work I had to do. I had a lot of work to do. I was working on a big video for the mayor, including about 3 or 4 more projects, man. And the mayor's video had a deadline of Monday. It's like, do I go to Stokebird and spend a little money, or do I stay home, and make a bunch of money? And not to mention, I got bills and shit to pay, man. So I did what I had to do, I had to work. I missed Stokebird again, hopefully next year I can make it. I'm sure it was a monumental event, man, but man, yeah, I missed it. So, but I did make money, I need to make money. I live in Key West, and people think, I'm rich. No, it's a struggle living down here. It's very expensive, but it can be done. You can make also, even though it's expensive, you can make pretty good money doing work down here. But it just goes, I'll make 3, 4, 5 grand, and then I'll pay my mortgage and a few more bills, and then I got to do it all over again, So that happened. Everything was going smooth, and life just keeps on happening, man. And that's one thing that I'm grateful for when it comes to the EUC. I'm grateful to have something that I can get on and just be free, something that helps with the stress of day-to-day life, man, things that we go through, man. Because, it's all trauma. We go through so much trauma in life, man. And, once upon a time, I rode motorcycle. Once upon a time, it was jet skis. Now I'm loving my one wheel and my EUC, man, and it's freeing, man. And, man, today I really, I needed this ride, man. I needed to get out. I've been wanting to do a longer ride for some time now. Every time I've tried, I've given up and gone back home. Probably got, at most 10 miles out of my EUC at a time, but today, you know, I know that I'm gonna go further than that because the things that I'm dealing with now is just, it's on another level, man. But, you know, I haven't told y'all yet. Let me just get into it, you know. So one night I was getting in the shower and my phone rang, and it was my sister-in-law. And she was calling, she was freaking out, you know, because they have a nephew who I watched him grow up, you know, and he's had a bad rap, you know. He's in and out of jail, and he had just gotten out from doing, I think, 4 or 5 years in prison. Hadn't been out 2 weeks, and now my sister-in-law was telling me on the phone, you know, she's trying to get in contact with my wife because her nephew supposedly chased a police officer down the street with a knife and ran inside a house and barricaded himself in the house, and he wasn't coming out. So, you know, I told my wife the severity of the situation, and, you know, if she could talk to him, then she needed to do whatever she could because, you know, I've seen situations like this and I've seen them go orally wrong. You know, I've had friends, you know, do themselves inside the house because they just don't want to go back to prison and do all of that time. You know, prison is not where you want to be at, you know. I know people think that people like prison, and hey, you know, I had a little fun when I was in prison, but I mean, it's not nowhere that you want to be. So she ran out there, you know, she wanted to go see what she can do. Their whole family went out there. I stayed home with the kids. And I don't know what it was in the air, you know, but it was one of them nights, man. Like, I don't know if you've ever had a night where you just get it's just a feeling like something in the world is going on right now, and it has a huge effect in my life. Like, these things are like they're connected, you know? Like, they're not in the same place at the same time, but they're connected through some other kind of force, man. And I could just feel something. I could feel it. It was, I don't, you know, and I'm not just like, the way I can prove that I wasn't just saying that is because I called my wife and I told her, I got a bad feeling, you know, something don't feel right, something feels off. Like, I have a feeling that, you know, you need to come home, like, I'm worried, you know. And she felt great because I'd never told her anything like that before. I never told my wife I'm worried, you know what I mean? But right, this feeling that I got, I'm worried, babe, and I want you to come home. And she's, you know, I'm out here with my family, you know, I can't leave just yet, you know, there's all these cops out here, 20, 30 cars, and, you know, I need to make sure my nephew's all right, and my family's out here with me, so I'm good, you don't have to worry, and, you know, and it's just like, it's just an unsettling feeling that I had. So, night goes on, you know, wife makes it home around midnight, you know. He turned himself in. He came out the house, he surrendered. Well, matter of fact, he didn't surrender, man. He went back in the house and he fell asleep, man. The boy was out of his mind on alcohol, man, and now he's in a situation that, you know, it's just horrible, you know, because it affects the whole family, you know, him getting in this little, you know, it seemed like a little bit of trouble, to me at least. Especially with me doing all the shit that I've done throughout life, man. It just seemed like it wasn't a big deal. And it's gonna be a big deal. You know, you're talking about 10, 20 years, something like that is what you're possibly looking at, man. Hopefully, you know, you can get 5 years, but his whole, you know, that whole side of the family, my wife, her sisters, their father, their mother, you know, the whole family is bawling. They are distraught. They are crying profusely because, you know, he just got out and he's going back. You know, since then he's been in the hole, you know, he's been in confinement in jail since then because they can't release him in the population, which is a whole nother story in itself because that will drive you crazy, man. I've done time in the box and it really mentally messes with you, it will break you. So they're distraught, but my wife makes it home safe. And I'm happy for that, I'm glad, but that feeling, it was a weird feeling, so next day comes and, typical morning, and around 11 or so, what do you know, I get a phone call from my sister in New York, and I can tell it ain't good, she's hysterical. And she's telling me, my father went into the hospital sometime the night before. As I was getting this feeling, I'll never question myself when I have a feeling like this. It's so crazy how connected I can't explain it. But my father went into the hospital sometime the night before. It wasn't looking good. He needed to sleep a day or something like that, and the next 24 hours would be critical, and I needed to get to New York as soon as I could. And, frankly, I was in no position to leave, immediately I'm thinking of, how I can get money to go, because, my bank account's messed up. And wasn't even 10, 15 minutes later, she called back and she said he coded twice. And yeah, I needed to get there ASAP. And she called me back again 10 minutes later again. And she told me that was it, he was pronounced. He was gone at 11:57 a.m. the next day. And I, at that time, I couldn't even process it. It hit me somewhat, but I hadn't felt the full toll of it, It's rough, man. But that's what it is right now, I don't know, it's been a little over 3 weeks now since it happened. Almost a week since the funeral. And every day, it's still a big empty hole in my heart, but I'm functionable, My mom even says, I look feeble, I look weak. My dad had a strong presence in my life. She knows how much I loved him. I love him. No love, that's eternal. But that's what it is, man. So for me right now, to get out on the EUC is kind of mandatory. I'm fully geared up. Because I'm definitely not on no crash dummy type stuff. I was, it's hard, man. I was hysterical, man. No money. I had to think of ways how to come up with money so I can actually go to the funeral, which I had 2 weeks time to do, which, I did what I had to do and You know, I took a couple of jobs, you know, did one with the mayor, a couple with Key TV, local news station down here that I work with. And, you know, they understood my situation. They made sure my payment went through fast, you know, got my accounts out the red, bought my ticket, and, you know, went up there and laid my daddy to rest. Now, when I went to get on the plane to go, it hit me. It really hit me. Matter of fact, my father-in-law took me to the airport, and when I got in the car with my father-in-law, it was hitting me. It was like I couldn't hold back the tears, man. You know, I got out of his car at the airport. You know, I had to step to the side for a second because I couldn't hold him back. Went in the airport, flew to New York, freezing cold, you know. It's like, man, it was, you know, but I didn't care, you know, about how cold it was. It was 25 degrees with a wind chill of 8. It felt like 8 degrees outside. And I didn't care, you know what I mean? All I cared about was what was about to happen, you know? We're going to lay my daddy to rest. And for me, it's very different because I grew up in Florida. I grew up in Key West, to be exact. And, you know, they don't bury bodies 6 feet. They bury them very shallow, you know, because you hit water if you go down too low. And, you know, New York is a different experience. So we went to the funeral, you know, I went to the funeral, and, you know, I was probably the first one there. And as I'm standing there, people are starting to come up, and I'm seeing family members that I haven't seen in 30, 40 years, you know? Like my dad's side of the family, and I remember everybody, you know? They walking up, you know, they looking, and my face, you know, I can't help how I feel in this situation. All my emotions are raw, and the way I'm looking at people is just like, you know, I'm in a disgust. I'm depressed, I'm distraught, you know, I'm mad, I'm sad, I'm hurt, you know, I miss my pop, you know, I want him back, and you could imagine, you know, how I'm looking. And, you know, people just like, oh, Damali? Like, yeah, like, you don't remember me? Like, yeah, Sean, I remember you. Yeah, this one, I remember. Yeah, you know, and some people I didn't remember, but I did remember the names, man, and it was just, you know, it was good to see all my family, but, you know, it's one of them things where it's like on the occasion. It's just like, I wish it was for a better occasion, you know, I wish I could have, you know, you just wish. There's so many things that you wish you could do. You know, I wish I would have spent more time in New York, more vacations, more time around my dad, you know, instead of any other vacation, always on the first on my checklist, should have always been New York. But one thing I could say is my dad definitely knows how I felt about him, man, and how I feel about him. And, you know, rest up, Dad. I love you. It's life, you know. And one thing about it, you know, none of us are gonna make it out of here alive. You know, we all gotta answer the Father time. But with that being said, let's get back to it. Now, this ride is beautiful, man. Riding in the Keys, you know, it's beautiful. You got beaches, you got secluded roads, traffic isn't crazy, so you're not really worrying about getting murdered. I mean, you still gotta be on your P's and Q's, and you still need to be geared up, but it's pretty safe, you know, and it's nice to explore, you know. Today, you know, this is the furthest that I've ever been. I ended up riding 27 miles, I believe, something like that, 27 miles. And all around, beautiful ocean, nice bridges, off-road, you know, nothing in traffic, really. I rode in traffic a little bit, but, you know, I'm fully capable of, you know, riding in traffic with this beast, the Lynx. The only thing I can say is I'm definitely happy with the purchase that I made, man. The Lynx it's a beautiful thing, man. And it's like, I ride this thing at around 30 to 35 miles per hour, and it feels good. I'm cruising. I ain't going crazy fast, but I got so much headroom if I want to. You know, if I wanna push down and go ahead and get 45 or 50 miles out of this thing, I can do that with ease. Now, I do have a problem with a little speed wobble, and you know, that's part of the reason why I really don't go too fast, man, because I felt that wobble at 30, 35, man, and the word that I will use to describe that is violent. The wobble is violent, man. But that being said, you know, I've gotten pretty good, man. And the EUC definitely helps me when it comes to, you know, just getting my head clear, getting out here in nature, you know, using it for what I brought it for, adventures and going faster and going further. Don't get me wrong, I'm still a one-wheel guy. You know, I ride the one wheel every single day. Even when I'm not riding the EUC, I use the one wheel because for me, it is definitely a safer piece of equipment. You know, it's what I trust if I'm using something like that for work. Because I'm not gonna be doing 30, 35 on the EUC holding a gimbal with a camera on it, you know? But I can do that, and I've done it many times on the one wheel. You know, one arm, you know, looking forward, looking back, and just locked on to my subject, getting some nice tracking shots. But yeah, man, that's just what I'm going through now, you know. Something that, you know, everybody has to go through, and I'm sure some of you guys have gone through it. You know, you've lost a parent or you lost someone really, really close to you. And, you know, for me, you know, in a way, I gotta say I'm pretty blessed because this is really, you know, the first time that I've felt anything like this. Anyone like being this close, you know, my pop, my hero, Melvin St. Francis Phipps, you know, sleep in peace, my Rastafarian Kingston Spongler dad, Spongler, yes. Yeah, man, but yeah, man, thank you guys for watching as always, man. I promise, you know, I'm gonna keep the content coming. I know I've been slacking, you know, even before I went through this situation, but yeah, I gotta get out of this funk. And, you know, these videos are definitely going to help me. You know, I talk to you guys because, you know, you are my people. But as always, if you haven't already, like, subscribe, ring that bell, all the fun stuff for your boy. If there's a video out there that you think that you would like me to make or that you would like to see, man, drop it down in the comments. And until next time, DP Photography, also known as The Real Berg, man. Enjoy your family. Time is precious, man. I love you guys, man. Thanks for watching again, and I'm out.